Good morning, good afternoon, good night in podcast land, wherever you are. This is episode, 26?
26.
Oh, 20? Nah, we ain't doing
I was waiting to see if you was going to catch what I said. You caught it. He's like,
Nope.
Nope.
We are not hexing. We are not hexing this podcast off jump. Because what happened is, when the cameras go out, the light goes out, somebody pulls up from the door, somebody's hexing because this dude is like 26. Nah, buddy. That's like yelling Candyman. Somebody jumping out from behind. Nah, we ain't doing that either. Nope.
Man. Oh, that was hilarious.
We ain't doing that.
But yeah, episode 26.
We ain't doing that. Not today. But this is episode 26, Laying Pipe with the PVC Crew. As you well see, we got the boys in the building. You heard from that man, Paul. But Paul, say what's up to the people.
What's up, people? I'm glad you guys tuning in, episode 26. But I do want to give a shout out to my boy, Cam. It was his birthday a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Young man over here.
Your boy old.
Nah,
the boy's old.
How's it feel to be 27?
I wish I was 27.
Man, he could be doing backflips. That's a fact. If I was 27, man.
27, shoot. Nah, man.
Big 47, huh?
Man, 47, man. Getting
47
old,
years, man, on this
man.
earth. How do you feel, though, brother, be 47?
Like I was when I was 46.
Just another day, huh?
I mean, I can say it was another day. And, cause I'm one of those ones who's always been a firm believer that every moment that I'm on this earth is a moment that I've been blessed. Anytime that you're able to wake up and know that, your family's cool.
Amen to
I'm
that.
cool.
Amen to that.
My boys is cool. Everybody in my, my circle and beyond is cool. I also want to make sure that that's a good look. So I don't really treat like my birthday as like well, it's just all about me. It's like, dude, I'm been able to do stuff that some of my family members who were older than me wasn't able to see. I have family members who have passed away years ago, and I was, much I hate to say this, able to outlive them, unfortunately, but. Because of that, I always feel blessed to have that. I, feel blessed to, have my kids. Shout out to my chickens, by the way.
Respect.
But
I just want to give a shout out to you, my brother. Happy birthday.
But your boy,
Happy birthday.
The boy's old. That's what it is. When you're 47, you get to the point like, I'm sorry.
Can you still move on?
I don't, man. First of all, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this live and in living color, so y'all can get this one time.
Can you still do it though? Can you still do it?
When it comes to gangsters and gamers, it's the same rule. Gangsters and gamers don't dance. We boogie. It's a difference.
So that's all you gotta do. That's all you do. That's all you gotta do. If you can still do that, Cam, I'm good.
How the song go? I got my drink and my two-step.
If you can still do this, Cam, we good. We good.
That is literally what.
That's all I care about.
Well, we gotta make sure, Cam, so you can still get jiggy with it.
Nah.
I can get jiggy with it. But happy birthday, brother.
I appreciate y'all both. Yeah, y'all know what it is. I appreciate y'all definitely. And I forgot. My man Vic's in the building as well. Vic, say what's up to the people.
Hey, I'm back at it again with the boys here at the PVC Crew, episode 26.
That's what's up.
And how many videos is this now?
This is what our sixth one in right now.
Oh, shit, we really are getting our sixes, aren't we?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's why I told him, like, don't drop the hex on it right now. Nope. Because he mess around, cameras be all bad. Something gonna mess up because you said it. So,
don't say that.
Look, all the cabinets are gonna open up.
Why is it so hot? It's hunting in this house.
You see all the blinds and everything moving already. That was already.
Don't say that.
see how scared he got? Mama! What is that? My mama!
He'll be in the middle of the night while you're trying to sleep.
Mama, I saw the door open by itself. What's that mean? That's just a mental sickness, baby. It's all right.
This go hear someone whispering that. What you want, fat boy?
You want a sandwich?
Y'all low.
What you want, fat boy?
I believe y'all low.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Yeah, you better scoot over.
So you say you better scoot over?
What, you need a hug or something? It's like talking about you need to scoot over.
You better scoot over. We'll be watching. Damn, that would be trippy. Wake up, there's a ghost next to me. You better scoot over.
What? It's gonna be hard for him to go to sleep tonight. Right?
I ain't gonna be saying nothing.
He'll be scared all night.
I'm gonna leave all these lights on. I'm gonna say, hey, mom, leave your door open. Oh man.
Oh shit.
That's too funny.
Anyway.
Yeah. Episode 26, video 6.
We up in here. Let me do this real fast. My name is Cam, aka Nerd Boy Fresh in the building.
Freaky.
You know, follow me on Instagram and all that good stuff. Y'all know how we get down. You know, we got a few things that we do need to cover real fast, so we're gonna get right into it. So we're gonna go with my man Vic this go round. You know how we do.
How we do it?
What you playing?
Well, this weekend I didn't really get a whole chance to play, but I did play a little bit of, what the fuck was it called? Oh yeah, you ever heard of the game Paladins?
Mm-hmm.
The free-to-play arena shooter?
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted to play an Overwatch-like game. Granted, I'm not going to pay for Overwatch, because I'll just wait till it comes to Game Pass when the Activision Blizzard deal goes through.
Right.
So I was playing some Paladins.
Not to cut you off, when does that go through?
That's supposed to finish next year.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
We'll get there.
But yeah, so I was playing some Paladins. It's fine. It's not bad. It's entertaining enough. It's just a problem. The problem with these arena shooters to me is that they're good for like an hour or two. You know, they don't hook me for 6 hours or something.
I agree.
But it's not a bad game, especially for free to play.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about it is, because this is from the same team that did Smite, and Smite's like for like a MOBA, it's like really good, really underrated, but really good. Paladin's kind of in the same vein. It was like underrated, pretty solid from what I was told. Is it Overwatch? No, it's not as like polished and pretty as Overwatch, but still very serviceable. A lot of people do play Paladins, believe it or not.
It scratches the itch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you want to just dive in, if you wasn't really trying to go heavy into Overwatch, you know how Overwatch players do. Everybody swears that they are pro when they're playing Overwatch. But if you want to kind of just dip your toe into it, yeah, Paladins is a good call. You know, I don't like the character. I don't like the character design of it, to be honest with you.
It's the design of essentially the design of Paladins is what I would say loud.
Right.
It's very in your face.
Right. It's very like super bright, super. I ain't gonna say over the top, but it's probably the best term for it. But you know, Paladins is straight.
And if you're interested, they are doing a crossover event right now with. You know Rooster Teeth?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So Rooster Teeth is
Yeah.
Rooster Teeth is a entertainment company.
Yep.
And they are known for making a show called Ruby.
Yep.
Right? So they're doing a crossover with Ruby,
okay.
which is actually not terrible. It's just some character skins that go over pre-existing characters, but I'm surprised how much care went into it because it actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, they actually did this on Smite as well, where they did with Ruby as well. So those character designs were really well on Smite. So seeing it on Paladins is kind of the same.
So I'll give them that for being a free to play with this crossover event. It's pretty impressive. Okay. So yeah, if you want to give it some run, it's not that big of a game size, but it's not something I'm gonna play a whole lot. But you got the job done.
Okay.
But I want to pass over to Paul here because I know Paul recently watched the new Resident Evil.
Yeah.
So I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, first of all, I didn't get a chance to dive in and play any Xbox this week. You know, I had a couple of errands to run, but I did watch the Resident Evil series. Actually, I kind of like it, but I feel like this one is made for like teens wise because how the storyline begins, you know, they got these two girls, you know, trying to, you know, with their dad and stuff like that, and then, you know, the dad works for Umbrella and stuff like that. But, you know, one of the girls got, you know, possessed, and another sister's trying to, you know, tell us going to be very involved. They had some good action scenes, don't get me wrong, but I just felt like this particular Resident Evil on Netflix is just made for teenagers to watch.
The latest generation?
Yeah. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, they got my favorite actor in, dude who played in John Wick, the black dude, I can't remember his name. Okay. And he was in another show I like, Bosch, which is real good. Yes. And I feel like, you know, he's getting a lot of good credit, good move, because he is a damn good, fine actor. You know, shout out to him. He's doing a very good job. But other than that, you know, I just feel like, you know, it's just the first couple episodes. Once you get the more storyline, get more little detail, it might get a little better. So other than that, you know, I'll give it a good I ain't gonna put it in the top 10, but I'll give it up there.
Let me ask this: Did you watch the Resident Evil movies? Like at least some of them.
The newer one or
no, like the ones that came out in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, any of them, like the original Resident Evil movie, the one with Mila Jovovich.
Yeah. Those were good. All those were good. I had those.
Okay.
I actually used to have them on collections. My favorite one was part 2 when the dude turned into the monster with the bean and stuff like that. I used to call him Bean from Batman. I don't know why, but that was always Bang, whatever. Okay, my bad.
Not Bean.
Bang. My bad.
The best part is he so happens to be Mexican.
And he was so happy to get that out. Man,
no racial intentions
on
on
get
that.
our DC people mad at us.
Fuck, it's Bean.
Bean. Butter Bean, the boxer, by the way.
So I'm gonna get beat up now because I'm like, what you talking about, bro? See, the original Resident Evil was all good.
Right.
They had some good,
entertaining as hell.
And,
Like,
and the one when Mike Epps was in was hilarious. He's like, GTA, motherfuckers.
And that's why I was like, it was hard for me to watch this one just yet, and I will. I just haven't doubled back for it yet. Only because
that was my favorite. But wait, I'll have to cut you off. It was one scene when Mike Epps was in Resident Evil. He said, "You should have told me you possessed, motherfucker. I'm sitting right here hanging with you and shit."
Because like I said, the Resident Evil, because like the first one took itself, like the first movie one, tried to really emulate what the original game was, which I give it credit. So it did a solid job.
You know what they did on that one? They did a good job
on the very first Resident Evil movie. I was like, all right, bet. It's when they started going to like 3, 4, when they started diving away from it. That's when they started to go bad. But the first one, I thought
the first one was real good because it made sense because it actually was the game,
right?
So I'm like, when I first saw it, I think what year it came out, was it 98 or 99?
I want to say
2000. So because I had the game on PS, PlayStation, I'm pretty sure everybody had it. But it made sense because it made what it was in the game into the movie, and that's what I like. So, but to top it off on a new Resident Evil one, I did not like. The one that came out last year.
The latest movie.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah, I can understand the latest movie. I think the latest.
Don't get me wrong. The character, everybody did a good job. I just didn't like it because it didn't. Not to put point fingers or anything. It just didn't make sense to me.
I got that, but see, my thing was it's hard for me to watch this new Resident Evil series because I don't know if it's really like a true homage to the original game. Or the game.
Once you see it, you might have a different point of view. So
I don't think so.
It just from what I've seen in trailers and stuff, it doesn't.
I get the vibe that this is to bring in new people.
Yeah, and I was like,
because it does not feel like it was made for.
And if you're gonna start off on a Resident Evil, like
that's
if you're gonna start off on a Resident Evil for like the new generation, what they should have done was like recreate like a live action version of Resident Evil Village. That would have been dope.
Yeah,
because that would have been a really good job.
That would have worked.
If anything, it would have made more sense to make a movie based off the most recent games.
Exactly.
That's just like how was it X-Men where had all the original, but then they went to First Class X-Men.
Yeah, I mean X-Men was one of them, but I was thinking more so from a gaming point of view. It's like a year and a half ago when they did Uncharted.
Okay,
I'll use something like that because with Uncharted, it was like original game. They tried to recreate the original, even though it took them like 20 plus years to get this off the ground, by the way. But at least they went ahead and at least tried to make it authentic as possible.
I was kind of mad, Cam, on it because I was looking forward to see Uncharted on Netflix. They're supposed to come out this Friday, but they had to push it back until August.
Yeah, which is fine.
Which is, I didn't read the whole storyline on it because I looked it up. I guess Sony.
They're trying to
negotiate some stuff. Which is understandable. I'm glad that Sony did that.
We're going to talk about them in a minute.
But
I was looking for it. It goes into what they've been doing the last.
On this topic, there's
Spit it out, buddy. Spit it out.
I stroked out. Speaking of Resident Evil, so supposedly they're supposed to be remaking 4. Recently.
Yes, the game. They're talking about it. Yes.
My whole thing is that I hope it's a genuine remake and not just a remaster where it just looks pretty, because as much as I love Resident Evil 4, I don't want to play with that old-ass game scheme where you have to stand and shoot, you can't move and shoot, which may not seem like a big deal if you played it originally, but nowadays, like, you play something like with Evil Within or whatnot, or even Dead Space or something where you can move and shoot. It changes how you play the game drastically.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping you'll be able to move and shoot in Resident Evil 4, and if that is the case, then I'll definitely be picking it up. But if not, I might just wait for it.
You think they're gonna have like multiple players for that one too?
Well, I think it's just to reintroduce it to the latest generation of gamers.
Yeah.
And also as a, like, hey, look, we're bringing back Resident Evil 4, which is probably, I want to say, the most popular one. Maybe not technically, but it seems like it is, because Nintendo, that's the one everyone talks about.
Yeah, I think my problem with this right now is that game companies are not being creative enough to come up with new IPs, so they're trying to dig and try to bring back classics. My problem is Resident Evil 4 is considered to be best of the Resident Evils. I mean, everybody will tell you that it's probably pound for pound the best.
Yeah, if anything, it's the one that most people played the first time.
Right. I mean, you played the first one, and then you played 4, but people really gravitated towards 4. But my problem is that you got to stop trying to relive these classics. Yes, with Final Fantasy, they did the same thing with 7. 7 was considered to be the greatest of the Final Fantasies. Now they're starting to do these little episodics with Final Fantasy, which is okay, but it doesn't feel like the OG Final Fantasy 7. If you're going to do a remake, you should just put all this game into one big package and just ran it the way that y'all wanted to. My problem is that with Resident Evil, is it going to be episodic like they're thinking about doing, which would be terrible, by the way.
No.
If they do it, I agree with you. Is it going to be one of those things where they're going to try to just remake it, like do a true remake or a remaster? Because they do a remaster, or like the shooting mechanics, it was good at the time, but it's not good now.
No, it's very dated.
Right, it's just old school and dated. So they would need to make that game much faster paced. But the problem with making Resident Evil 4 faster paced is
it changes everything.
It changes the whole game.
Because it is a very crucial design to where it's like, okay, do you run or do you stand and fight? Because you can't do both.
Yeah.
Right.
Giving the ability to do both drastically changes it. Because, all right, sorry to catch you up. Like, the chainsaw guy.
Yes.
That asshole who kills you in one shot.
Seems like you've been stuck on that level for a minute.
It was just, it was bullshit.
Yeah, back in the day. Back in the day, it was a problem.
The whole point
because the problem was, it wasn't like a...
You couldn't shoot him in the back away.
It wasn't a technical... It was a technical thing. It wasn't a... You couldn't think your way through this dude. It was like, I have to stand and shoot, or I have to run and figure out something else. You couldn't do it because the mechanics wasn't right.
So...
But it'll make that boss super easy now.
That's why it would change everything. So it's either they speed up everything to justify you being able to move, or they just keep it how it was. But we'll have to see what happens. It could be done, but like with everything, it's risky.
It's a big risk.
Yes, it is.
Because you're talking about a game that really, that's
but look
too much of a foundation game for y'all to be tinkering with. If that makes
sense. But look how it stood out, though. That's my biggest thing. Look how it stood out. So if they're gonna do this right, they better do it the right way. Because if they don't, then it's gonna go down.
I mean, it goes into...
And then it's gonna be like, okay, well, what's the point of me seeing if they're gonna have another movie or not? Because now this is that.
Yeah, but I think what they saw was that Final Fantasy VII has some sort of semblance of success doing this right now. Yeah. It's not like it's head and shoulders, like it's blowing everybody out of the water. But they have enough success where it makes a little bit of sense for them.
For justification.
Yeah, and so this is why, well, they're doing it and they're making some money off of it. Why can't we do it and do the same thing? It's kind of the same conversation that we had. I think it was last episode we talked about The Last of Us. Mm-hmm. Same type of conversation. Are y'all remaking this game or y'all remastering this game? Because this game is way too new for y'all to be touching it. To be first and foremost. Secondly, Last of Us, the original Last of Us, is a masterpiece. So why are you tinkering with the masterpiece? It's kind of like what we think about Resident Evil 4. We think of Resident Evil 4 for that generation as a masterpiece for that generation. Why tinker with it?
08, 07?
Yeah, 07-ish, if I'm not mistaken. It's a masterpiece. And, when you talk about games, there's certain games you shouldn't mess with. You don't mess with Sonic 2. You don't mess with Ocarina of Time. Oh, wow, you don't mess with
Crash Bandicoot.
You can kind of mess with Crash Bandicoot. But you don't mess. There's certain, like I said, there's about 20 games you don't mess with. And the reason why you don't mess with it is because what more can you do with it? This is the reason why, even though Last of Us 2 was good, it's still a drop off because the first Last of Us was a masterpiece. People get mad at Cyberpunk because Witcher 3 was a masterpiece. That's the problem that you have with certain games right now. The only thing you can do is go down. Yeah. That's the only problem. When you get those type games, the only thing you can do is mess up. This is why I'm so scared about what's happening with Grand Theft Auto 6. Because
me
Grand
too.
Theft Auto 5 is the most complete game that you will ever get your hands on, and 6 has to kind of at least come close to it. And it's nothing that they could do to come close to it but mess it up.
Because it's still right now 5 is still going on because on the online.
But think about
so they can't mess up 6. They better not mess up 6.
But think about how long that's been out though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying because it's still relevant. It's still people still playing. I'm still playing it.
Exactly. Go ahead, man.
No matter what, it's going to be a disappointment.
That's the fact.
I'm hoping. I'm praying it's not. I'm praying it's not because
I don't want it to.
I don't want it to because.
Let's start here.
Okay, go ahead.
Black Ops 2, which is considered to be probably the last of the good Call of Duties. How many other Call of Duty games came out since then? I think 5.
5.
So there's 3. There's 4. Advanced Warfare, Infinite Warfare, Ghost. Shit, damn near like 8.
That's what I'm saying. So think about that. If Black Ops 2 was considered to be the last of the goodies, and that's not even the best of the Call of Duties, by the way. You can make an argument between
Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, you can make an argument between Modern Warfare 2 and the OG Black Ops.
I mean, I'll go back to
Call of
Duty Part 2.
Just one of those.
That's a good one too.
It's so many drop. It's been so much of a drop off.
Not to cut because the reason why that was good though, and not to cut you off. Call of Duty 2 was good because they had more of the old school war in it. That's what I liked it. Like the Civil War, I liked the Civil War. So when they put it in that was cool.
But you couldn't recreate the map.
Yeah.
You can't recreate. Like, what can you do? You had a masterpiece. The only thing you're gonna do is go down and then hope to God that you kind of jump back in.
Thank you for smiling.
Yeah, I mean, I just use those games as an example. It's so hard to kind of get the magic back when you lose it, and that's why I said doing 4. I don't know.
I'm 50-50 on it. I feel like if they get the technicals right, then it'd be well worth it because it is an old game. Granted, like you said, it's a masterpiece.
And who's it sponsored by?
This is Capcom. Well, see, here's the thing. But I'll take your premise though. If that game is full motion, do you know that you cut off about maybe
you take out
that's like a third to almost half the game because literally half of that game is based upon you can't move that fast.
Well, it drastically changes difficulty as it makes it much easier. Like that one scene where you got to fight that fucking inbred giant thing in the arena. Right. The whole thing is you cannot move. You have to stand and shoot. Right. Leaving you very vulnerable to it. Right. But if you can move and shoot, its attacks are pretty easy to dodge.
Exactly. Now keep in mind, just from a literal gameplay scape, that game was probably about 15 hours to get through, maybe, if even that. Maybe it's probably more like 10. Let's say about 10, just for giggles. With speed, that game is probably a 5-hour game max.
Probably.
Yeah, because now you can kind of make a quicker decision.
Without the DLC.
Yeah, without DLC, it's a 5-hour game. So you really gonna put this much effort into a game that you can ultimately skate through in 5 hours? That game better be fire. That game better be like Ninja Turtles or something, where you could kind of do something like that.
Yeah, Ninja Turtles.
Because Ninja Turtles was a remake, but it was fire. But even then, you didn't have to do that much to it. By the way, it was basically ultimately the same type game.
Oh yeah, I got it, dude. I've been playing it. It's very fun. Yeah, but I can picture them doing some shit where this is all hypothetical. There's nothing to support this, but I can picture them doing so. Say they do add, movement to the combat, where you can move and shoot. The game is completed much quicker. I could picture them just doing adding a wave-based horde mode as a way to extend the package. Say you take some sections from the game, and that's where you just set up and play with 4 other people. Whether you play as characters from the campaign or just some reused multiplayer assets from other Resident Evil games or whatever. But I can picture them doing that as a way to, you still want to play more, but you don't necessarily want to replay the campaign. Well, bam, here you go.
I can see that. That's not a bad idea. That's not bad at all.
People like horde modes. They're fun.
Yeah. I mean, in certain games it works, and it can work there. I mean, because one of the things that Resident Evil kind of lacks is a bona fide good multiplayer.
No, all of them have been either decent or horrible.
Yeah. So a good multiplayer behind something like 4, actually, that's not a bad call.
Yeah, that will be fun. Playing on, yeah. So, Cam, what you been playing, my brother?
No, yeah, what have you been up to?
I didn't get the chance to ask you what you been
Well,
playing.
yeah, we both know, but I want to hear him say it.
All right. So I'll tell you what I haven't been playing. I haven't been playing MLB The Show. Nah, I didn't play that. I ain't been playing no 2K either.
What was her name?
Shut up. What have I been playing? So I've been playing, finished Turtles, like I just said. I just finished that. That was actually pretty fun. Pretty quick, but it's actually fun. It's one of those games that you can actually replay over and over again. You'll be just fine. I actually like it. Definitely good. One of those quick, really shouldn't be played multiplayer, but still fun as a single player.
I can't wait till we do that. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a good single player campaign. So I've been rocking with that. What else have I been playing? Started off on this game called Shadowrun Legends or whatever it may be. I forgot the.
Isn't that a motherfucking tactical game?
So it's a turn-based RPG. But if you had XCOM and Cyberpunk, that's what it is. So your characters can actually get like cybernetics, which gives them all special abilities and all this stuff.
Shadowrun is the brand itself. Shadowrun is very old.
It's a very old.
Because it started off as a tabletop paper RPG.
Yep. And so it takes a lot of those mechanics.
And it's been around for a fucking minute. Dog.
Yeah. And so when they brought it back, they just kind of redid the graphics, but they made it more turn-based with. It's like one of your OG Cyberpunk games.
Yeah.
Like Cyberpunk style of games.
I think it would have worked a little bit. I know why they did turn-based because that's how it is in pen and paper.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think it could have benefited more from a gameplay style like the Ascent.
That would have been dope. But see, the thing is that you already have the Ascent, and that game is fire in itself.
Yeah, it is. But the problem is there's also so many fucking turn-based games, dude.
It's now all of it because before there was none. Then all of a sudden, everybody wants to be turn-based.
You got the original, basically every XCOM game.
Well, yeah, because that's the granddaddy of them all.
You got all the XCOM games. You got Gears Tactics. You got Phoenix Point. What else is there?
There's so many other ones. And that's not including that's not even including some of your hybrid ones like your Solasta, your Pillars of Eternity, some of those which are really turn based too. Mm-hmm. But it's just one of those things. I think because of how well XCOM did, as far as like numbers and people playing and people commenting and all that stuff, I think you started getting a whole wave of turn-based games. So, and me, y'all already know how I get down. I play turn-based games. Is what it is.
You sure do.
It's his job as a manager. He manages shit.
Yeah, apparently. But this one's alright. I mean, it's a great. I mean, the reason why I don't. Yeah, I know.
I can just picture Cam just going, "Why ain't this motherfucker dead? I told you to shoot this man right here."
Be directing people.
If I actually treated a job like a turn-based game, go here, don't move.
Collect all this.
Collect this, move this, and do this.
I can see you doing that. Yeah.
I should do that just on GP. But like,
I can picture.
Did I tell you to move? No, go back.
Now I know after this.
Now you're dead. Now we lost some in.
Oh man.
Now after this, I know you're gonna be out of stamina.
Exactly. Go on break. I should do that one
would be funny.
Just on the stream, but I know that that's comedy. But I mean, Shadowrun I've been working on. Turtles I just finished. Fallout 4 I just finished. Playing Match Point Tennis, just kind of kick around. Just I want to see how it works. Been playing that. Been doing that, but that's pretty much all I've been playing. What else? What I've been watching? Not much. I haven't been watching too much. Just been watching like a lot of like small stuff, but nothing of like real importance. But let's dive into a couple of quick topics before we head out. So let's talk about the Knox thing. Let's go here.
So
let's go here. Let's start here. So stop. No, we got to. Let's start here.
Break it down, Cam. Break it down.
So
That shit was so funny.
The
storyline.
No, it's all the other storylines that people are being fooled. Go ahead.
Okay, so you gonna tell the whole story, but let me just put the little piece. So basically, it ended up on the news, which I thought was funny. They made it seem like it was a gang thing, which it really wasn't. It was just a bunch of kids at Knott's Bay Farm on some TikTok shit.
Yeah, but here's the problem.
Okay, go ahead.
Here's the problem with that. So what happened was, I guess, the whole staging of this was that on social media, TikTok, Instagram, all this, yada, 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 they were setting up so they could go into Knott's Berry Farm to just cause commotion, mayhem, just be on some dumb stuff. That was the whole premise of this whole thing. Not necessarily on like some social media experiment stuff. It was one of those just kids being kids. They wanted to do something stupid, right? So their whole thing was because you couldn't like bring no guns and nothing in there. They got a really tight security at Knott's. They up there, pulled through, and they just started like fighting. Now they're fist fighting with each other. They're fist fighting other people. They're fist fighting like all across the whole park. So they're fist fighting in different areas. So what happens is that when the process of them fighting or whatnot, everybody's getting all panicked and scared. So you got like one fight, couple of people. They put them on the ground. Then, just like when you have like a little brawl, so y'all been to like sporting events where a couple of people start swinging, then everybody feels the urge to swing. But normally the reason why that they feel the urge to swing because they've been liquored up and that liquid curves get into them. So you see somebody swing,
so a bunch of teenagers just
like
got sugar high.
So what it turned out to be was like a kid's version of a bar fight. That's what it was. It was like, okay, two people start swinging, people start getting pushed, everybody starts running. Then, in the melee and stuff, people's getting trampled, people's getting stepped on. Ooh, you stepped on my kid. Ooh, you knocked over my mom. You knocked over my grandmother.
No, that's not the funny part. The thing that got me laugh was it ended up on the news.
Well, because the reason why is because, and here's where, because y'all know the chickadees work there. Yeah. So what happened is that it was happening so frequent and so often that even though security was controlling it, but it was causing so much chaos amongst the other guests that they had to kind of air everybody out.
A chain reaction.
Right, because they didn't want to have it go on throughout the night and get worse, and then other people get called in, because this is the reason why they thought it was on some gang stuff, because they were like, well, people are getting called into the park, other kids are trying to get into the park, they're trying to hold them at the gate. There was a lot of things that was happening that they had to kind of put the brakes on. So it was more
I give them that.
It was more serious than what it was, but it wasn't like
as
it was
serious as it could be.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was completely off the rails. Right. It wasn't like somebody was up there, and that was the other thing. Yeah. Because everybody was like, well, somebody brandished a gun. Nobody brandished no gun. You can't get a gun up in there.
Yeah.
You know how extensive that pat down is?
You ain't never hearing anything about nobody carrying a gun.
Right, it wasn't, but they were saying like on TikTok and on social media, they were carrying a gun. Nobody had a gun. Let's start there. Now,
Just
listen to the story.
Is this like the fucking Warriors, the movie?
Kind of, but it wasn't on like no.
No, but like in the sense of like of the brawl.
More or less.
It was
just like a bunch of kids fist fighting, and then what you got was, but then you got these other people like who were just guests, like what's going on, and then these kids are trying to mouth off at them. They got these grown adults, and they're like. And they're trying to act like they hard because once they got all fired up about fighting and stuff, now they got their courage to like trying to mouth off to everybody. And a lot of these people are like some real. I mean, there's some parents who are like, "Yo, we some real ones. We will handle some kids. Yeah. If these people ain't gonna handle these kids, we'll handle some kids." And that's literally
that's one thing I was thinking about.
And that's what started happening because a lot of these parents start handling these kids. Now, here's the problem with that, and this is where the story becomes a story. Because they did some antics like this, look at the demographic of kids who was there. That was the problem.
That was it.
It was all black kids.
That's not good.
And so what it looks like is that you know, all these black and Spanish kids pulled up to knock with the purpose of being fighting and being destructive. It's like it goes into the "we are who we thought you were." Because you're going into an area where when they see these kids, they're like, because they be always into some mischief and stuff anyway.
I know. That's the truth. That is the truth.
I know.
They're into some stuff, and then all of a sudden they start doing the stuff that people are thinking in their head they're going to be doing, and then all of a sudden they're getting mad about, and then they're like mad that they're going.
And that's what I hate about the stereotype about stuff.
And that's the
But the problem is the reason those stereotypes exist is because of shit like this.
Yeah.
Right. It's because they do these stupid antics thinking that, oh, well, it's funny. We're going to, and this is why I said stop trying to do stuff for views.
Yeah.
Let's start there. Y'all trying to do stuff so y'all can get y'all TikTok page up to get yourself a little bit of money. But the problem is y'all trying to do all this stuff for views, and it ain't funny because now you're disrupting a whole park environment. Which the next time they go into that park, what's going to happen?
They're not going to do
this goes into the generational thing about like age and stuff, but we'll dip into it a little bit here. When we were kids, these younger kids don't understand what it's like to be in a liquor store and literally having the owner of the liquor store trail you around even though you're doing the right thing. And they're looking at you because the stereotype is some other kids came in and started to run ragged in my store, stole some stuff. Now every other kid that walks in there, every other kid that's going in there that's doing the right thing, like 95% of them, now we're getting watched like a hawk every single time.
Like how it always goes. It only takes one.
Exactly. You know, and so then y'all get mad like, you know, well, why y'all follow me around? Don't be mad at the owner because they're following you around. Be mad at the kids who came up there before who caused them to have that mindset to walk around. Same thing when you walk into a store. You walk into a Walmart or a Target or whatnot. It's the same conversation piece. But y'all look like y'all did something stupid. 9 times out of 10 they're gonna approach you like that.
I be getting mad at some kids
I hate it.
rolling in Walmart and getting those electric cars just be riding around. I'm like, dude, you're not handicapped. Why are you doing it?
Right, because they do all those antics. See, it's the problem is they do all the antics and then
belt off of
but see, they do it like I said. They do this stuff for views.
Yeah,
because then you see them, they'll be recording and stuff. Ooh,
yeah,
you see me rolling around in this. You see me trying to steal this stuff,
and then make me so mad. I'm like, get your butt out of that thing.
Do you remember the whole concept of do it for views? Has been around for a long time.
Of course,
You know, do you remember Vine?
Oh wow!
Do it for the
Do it for the Vine.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Granted, Vine was. If you don't know what Vine is a more primitive version of TikTok. As in, you only were able to record a video for like 7 seconds.
It was more like it was Snapchat before Snapchat became popular.
Kind of, yeah. But I remember it because in middle school it was really fucking popular.
Yep.
You know, and there was that phrase, do it for the Vine. But even before Vine, there was always the concept of do it for the views.
Yeah.
You know, where you do dumb shit and your justification is a lot of people are going to look at this.
Right, because
it's still active today. If anything, it's just got worse.
Because again, now people are like the kids are getting paid for it. So if you really think about it, I know it's kind of going sideways into a completely different subject, but we can kind of go there. This is where social media has gotten us because we went from the not doing the antics to, for me to stand out, I have to do the antics to stand out. Yeah. That makes sense? Well, so if you have to do the antics to stand out, you're going to get more and more of this because they're not doing it just for sake of, and it may not be really who they are, but they really got to do the antics to get out there. It's the same reason why YouTube is in the place that it's in, why TikTok, when you scroll across TikTok, what do most people see? The funny videos, the outrageous videos. They're not looking at the regular basic stuff. They're looking at the outlandish stuff because that's what gets the views. When people say stuff like completely out of pocket, that's what gets the views. OnlyFans exists because it's something that's out of the norm. It's what it is. It's all social media because it's the look at me, look at me, look at me. I am different than this person because
all eyes on me. Like
exactly. It's whatever I could do to get more people to watch me than this other person I'm going to do. And it's translating, the kids are translating this into, well, if I don't have the look, And if I don't have the talent and I can't be necessarily funny, I have to do some sort of antic to get there.
Well, start a riot.
No. But it goes to, but I take that and I'll take that. And
That makes sense.
But I take it to this because there's, and I hate bringing this up, but I am going to bring this up. So there's a battle rapper. His name is Daylight. He's from out here in LA. I met him in real life. He's one of the coolest people whom I met. Shout out to him. Shout out to his kid. I met both of them. He's a great dude. But if you saw some of the antics that he did 4 or 5 years ago, they put him in that box because he was doing this. He was doing a lot of his stuff, even though he's super talented, probably one of the best rappers on this planet. But he was doing so many antics that he was known for his antics more so than his rapping ability. And his rapping ability is better than any, like 95% of rappers who's on this earth right now, minus maybe like 3 people. And that includes every single industry person. But be it as it may, when you hear Daylight, the first thing you think of, well, isn't he the same dude who was in a battle, who took a dump on the stage? Is he the same dude who was like, you know, handing out money and buckets? This is the same dude. This is that same dude who went up there dressed like a slave at a battle rap against a white battle rapper just to try to prove a point that, well, I'm just going to give you the antics. I really don't want to rap. It's kind of that premise. So even with people who's getting money, and he was getting a pretty good amount of money for doing this, he was still doing it for antics because now you know him for that. But then you really started listening to him like in the last couple of years when he really started to rap. You were like, well, dang, this boy can rap his butt off. He can freestyle better than 90% of the people who freestyles right now. He can rap any industry rapper you put in front of him, maybe minus Eminem.
It's almost like, why did he just do this?
Exactly, because he needed for him to be seen. He had to do the antics. And once he got seen and he was on World Star and all these other platforms, now when he comes back and just does his music and raps, everybody's like, oh yeah, well, he could actually do this. And he tells them, and one of his phrases is, I do this. We know, but we didn't have to go through all the antics to get there. But the kicker is, we wouldn't have known much about him outside of the antics. That makes sense.
That's just like when I talk about pro wrestling. When you inside of the arena, you gotta have the crowd react to you. Otherwise, you won't have no fans, and it doesn't make sense. So I get what you're saying on that. So you have to do something out of the character to get people attention. Right. Now I got your attention. Now I'm gonna show you who I really am.
So think about it.
Real quick, sorry to cut you off. The reason, back to the social media, a little further back, what we were talking about how egregious it is. I mean, before it was always kind of bad, right? Because it was just dumb kids doing dumb things to get people to look at them. It's worse now because they injected money into it.
Yes.
And anytime you bring in money, corruption is not far behind.
Right, because think about it. So you remember, I forgot the old girl's name, but she was on not Jerry Springer, but the other dude.
Maury?
Huh? Not Maury. No.
The ball guy?
Yeah.
Steve Wilkos?
No, not Wilkos. No.
Dr. Phil?
Dr. Phil. She was on Dr. Phil.
There's a lot of those shows down.
Danielle Brielle. She's the one who's like, Cash Me Outside.
Oh, yeah.
She was 16.
Cash Me Outside.
Yeah. So she was 16, 17. So she got famous off of a stupid antic, if that makes sense. And so she continued to start doing antics. She's 18. Opens her OnlyFans. On some antics because she knows that she has to do something to stand out. She is $40 million deep.
But she's in debt?
No, that's what she made in a year.
Oh, okay. You said deep.
She's basically liquid. About 36.
Do me a favor, do your glasses like that and say that like she's literally
getting.
There you go.
Let me do this for y'all so y'all can see it on camera. Yeah. She's literally a multi-millionaire as an 18-year-old for not having to do much because she did antics. Do you understand? Like when you see people,
so this antics, is like a version of the lotto.
Yes, because if you do the right thing, people are going to, like when one person is successful at it, everybody's going to mimic it. Kim Kardashian made a whole freaking brand of this. This is basically this is her. I ain't gonna say it's her doing per se, but it's kind of is. She made a whole brand. The only reason why a lot of these things exist is because the Kardashian family set it up to be. And I'm not, and the whole thing is, I can't even knock them because it went from being like, well, I'm from a little bit of a position of privilege, but I wasn't like a super duper star. They are household names. You can't go a day without hearing about something that a Kardashian has done because of how they
keeping up with the Kardashians.
No, but how they move social is how they move their social media. Mm-hmm. They turned that into a boutique shop. If they turned that into, being able to promote and make money. You don't think that Zuckerberg is paying them a good amount of money to just push and promote on their brand because they know that if they're getting 1 million plus views off of one post, you don't think Zuckerberg ain't paying attention? Like, hey, we'll shoot you some money. Just keep doing what you do.
Just use our platform.
Shit, I'm gonna have to just jump in the pool, do a front flip in a donut.
If they don't care. I'm just telling you right now what people do for me. Because I'm right now, regular will get you some views.
Set me on fire.
Antics will get you the views. That's what you got with this Not Very Far thing.
That's what we're gonna have to do with Paul. Okay, first things first, you will get naked. Second thing, we're gonna put some powdered sugar on top of your head. Right? And then after that,
I'm a donut now.
We're gonna have you run down the street. We're gonna call this boy the Rise of the Doughboy. Okay?
We're streaking everybody.
You go run to the liquor store and you go grab as many Rice Krispie treats as you can before the cops come.
You know what? They won't even arrest me. They probably just gonna look like, wow,
you're a fool.
Fool. They won't even tase me.
And then the whole thing is, they'll probably do something just because you black. I'm gonna keep it real. But outside of that, you said if you told them I'm just doing this for TikTok, they'll probably just give you a pass.
No, I can't. I forgot about you.
Where your clothes at, boy?
Yeah, they'll probably just give you a pass. It's just what it is. That's where we are right now.
But it shouldn't take something. I don't know why it takes stuff like that just to get out, just to do something stupid.
But that's the whole thing. Stupid sells. Yeah. I hate to say this, but that was the whole premise of Jackass.
Yeah.
That was the whole premise.
No.
Yes, it was. That was the original premise of Jackass, was to do the antics, and they would just escalate it to just step it up, even though
what they did though was a skill.
No, I'm not saying what I ain't saying.
Okay, look, I agree with you. What you said, and I agree with what you said.
No, I'm not saying what they did ain't a skill, because they were able to do it.
But nowadays, people are doing shit minus the skill.
Right, because before it wasn't a skill. When they first started, they were just doing the antics because they knew that the antics would get them there. Then once they start figuring out that we're getting paid off of said antics, they was like, okay, well, let me figure out how to do this without killing myself.
But see, and that's why I liked about the new Jackass, because now they got the new characters and they're bringing them up right. They're not letting them go, well, you do this and then do something stupid. So I'm kind of liking how they brought up the new characters.
Because now they get it. They're old enough. They're not going super crazy because it was like, look, we know we're still getting paid off the antics, but we're going to at least do this in a way that is safe and we can kind of control it.
That one scene when they had all them laying down and Preston and the other dude just ran the laughs and fell on them. That shit was hilarious.
Yeah, but see.
Oh my God. Okay, but you are right. Stupid shit does sell.
I mean, think about it.
And I have to agree with you on that.
If you really think about your social media, what are y'all watching? The stuff that's funny, or more importantly, what stands out. And stand out is going to be one of two ways. Either it's going to be something that's antic driven, or something that's visually appealing.
Well, from what I understand, social media, no matter the platform, is primarily made up of three things, which is comedy, news, and porn.
Well, yeah, it's gonna be sex, comedy, and information. It's what it's going to be. Because
more accurate, but yeah.
Yeah, because it's not going to be necessarily news, but most of it's going to be like information. Like, here, let me teach you something. Let me give you some information on this. Let me tell you how to be better in your relationship. Let me tell you how to bag a girl. Let me tell you how to bag a... they'll tell you this stuff, even though half their information is wrong, but that's what social media is. Because everybody thinks that they're an expert. that's a different thing. But
some motherfuckers think they're a sexpert.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But
they like the ones where they teach you how to cook food.
Yeah, but that goes. Yeah.
No, the dude, the fish chef. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a lot of people who get down. But see, that goes into the information part.
Yeah,
so that makes sense. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but social media is threefold. You're absolutely right. Yeah. It is a threefolded monster. It is information, funny, or visual or sex. It's really what sells. And
no, visual is more accurate.
No, it's sex, but no, it's a sex sells. I mean, because visually, what you looking at?
Titties.
Exactly. I mean, or if you look at a guy, you look at well, he's super muscle bound. What? Yeah, same thing.
Still titties.
Exactly. Facts.
Correct.
But you're absolutely right. But that's what it is. So anybody telling you otherwise, is what it is.
Yeah, but titties.
But it is what it is. But now let me transition that Knox thing into what happened at the MGM. So same night that this was popping off in Boyd Park.
You was telling me about this. So, yeah.
At the MGM in Vegas, they had to shut down. Though everybody kind of flooded out the MGM Grand hotel because here's what happened. Everybody was under the assumption that it was a gunshot, and so they heard a glass crash down. And so everybody's like, gun! Everybody's booking out because sheep. People are they for sheep. Everybody booking, so everybody airs out. They air out the whole hotel. Wait a minute.
Remember how such an entertainer? He's like, what they want? Give me some new.
Exactly. Exactly right. So that's what happened, and everybody's like calling. Ooh, I heard gunshots. Here's the story. Dead on TMZ. One of the glass doors broke. Because it's a glass door, it's gonna break loud.
I haven't been to MGM. I forgot how to build.
Okay.
So I mean, it can happen. You can close the door hard enough.
The entrance part, the glass door.
I don't know if it was the entrance door or one of them, but it broke.
Wait. So real quick. So what they heard was something break.
Yes.
But there was no bang.
Right, because when glass breaks, when it shatters, it's kind of loud.
Yeah, I've heard the shattering of glass, but it sounds nothing like a gunshot.
But let's say somebody hit something and it was like, whoosh, you're gonna hear a little bit of a pop, but it ain't like a pop like that.
You'll hear the gun before the glass breaks.
Yeah,
it was a paranoid white person.
I ain't gonna say who it was because I ain't gonna put no race.
I'm not gonna.
I ain't gonna put no race attached to it. But it was to the point where. It was to the point where a glass shattering caused that whole hotel to air out. That's the story.
What day did this happen on?
Saturday. Literally around the same time they were kicking people out of Knott's. It's the same time that they were like.
Wait, hold on. Wasn't the fight? The UFC fight was that? No, that was on Sunday.
That was on Sunday.
Okay.
So I mean, they got everything situated.
Yeah.
But it was like the whole premise of.
So this was all just a paranoia thing.
Yes, because everybody's scared now. Everybody's on edge. I mean, it's one thing to have some antics going like what happened at Knott's per se, but it's another thing to be
Was anyone trampled?
Of course people were trampled. They were trampled in both.
Let me rephrase that. Was anyone dead?
No, nobody was dead. It was just like everybody's trampling and running and scared, calling people, trying to be on social media. Ooh, I heard gunshots. I heard this. Wasn't gunshots. Security's right there. Security's in the eye of the sky. They can see everything that happens.
They got sharpshooters.
They can damn near see everything that's in the room.
They got sharpshooters up there.
Especially considering what happened at the Mandalay Bay when they had that shooting at that country concert. You best believe that there ain't nothing happening on that strip that don't get addressed like in a quick step.
I'm telling you, man.
And that riot they had at the one UFC fight.
That's what I'm saying.
The security in hotels is damn near better than cops.
The security in hotels is... It was just as good as cops, and in certain cases better because they are designed to
handle the situation.
Immediate. They know the ins and outs of that whole hotel and other hotels adjacent to them. So if something was to happen at the hotel next to the MGM Grand, they could go right there. If something was happening across the street at Excalibur,
they can go there.
They'll book over to Excalibur real fast, make sure they're straight, and still have their own little hotel situation.
That's kind of fucked up for the security. People run around saying there's gun. They're like, what the fuck?
So they're saying gun.
But see, that's right because why you think none of the security didn't? I'm pretty sure none of the security guards even panicked. They just walked around, did their job.
No, because you have to address
the issue. Yeah,
but in the same conversation piece, it was like everybody calm down, just calm down. We got it addressed.
Would this damage their reputation?
Huh?
Would this damage their reputation?
Yeah, but see, that's and this goes into the Knott's and the MGM. I kind of tie them both in together here. It damages Knott's because you got people who are normally family oriented people walking into Knott's more scared about, well, it's gonna be hard for me to bring my kids here, especially at night, because I'm so afraid that this is gonna happen. But at the MGM Grand, it's like
water on the bush.
I'm not worried about it. We'll be back here next.
And I was thinking about that.
We'll be back here next.
I was thinking about if Knox would be the
I mean, you're gonna have
how it's gonna feel it now since this incident happened.
Because see, and the thing is about Knox is that they're not nearly as bad as if you went to Six Flags. Now, Six Flags was a different thing. Now, I've been at Six Flags when it was like some real gang, two rivaling gangs pull up at Six Flags at the same time.
You can't even get on the Superman.
No. They pulled up, they saw each other, a couple of signs went up, a couple of things said, and it was on and cracking. And you're talking about that's a different situation because you talk about some real ones going head up, and then they were taking it to the parking lot, and it almost got real sincere out there. Trust me, that's different than what happened at Knox. These were just a bunch of kids thinking they're trying to be funny.
I've seen that happen at Six Flags once.
But what they don't understand is they don't want to have that type of strictness that they have at like Six Flags, where you really can't pull up in there looking any which way and stuff. And that's what you don't want. You don't want Knox, who's more like a family-friendly thing.
And that's why I couldn't understand it, because Knox Way Farm ain't never had no, as far as rides and stuff.
You had some small
conflicts, but not enough to get on the fucking news. Excuse my language. But
you got some small people pull up. Like, you'll see some instances like Knott's Scary Farm, people getting into a fight because,
Knott's Berry Farm, the toll face thing is like, all are welcome, all ages are welcome. They want everybody because, it's a customer.
But now I wonder if they're going to be strict about, you can't come in here unless you got a dope present.
I know a lot of people.
I was thinking about that today, too.
I don't think that they'll pull the trigger on that because
I'm just it's not hard, true, you little bastard.
It's hard to pull that and figure out how to regulate that to make that work. It's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
You got two kids in a trench coat.
No, because you'll have verifying IDs, how you want to do that. It's kind of hard to do.
But they ain't gonna lose no money.
If you can't verify that to try to check people with games trying to make a purchase of an M-rated game, it's gonna be hard for you to try to make that conversation.
So hypothetically, even if they were to do that, wouldn't they have to hire more personnel?
They could do the same personnel because if you think about to get into the gate, you got to go through a couple of checkpoints to get in. So not like you could just pull up in there and you just walk through the gate. No, you got to go through security checkpoint where they have
you going through the park.
Where they have Boy in the Park's finest. Then you go through the regular gate portion of things where they can check at either point. By the way, so
parking is a bitch there though.
The reason why parking there because a lot of people pull up. I mean, Knox was like one of the places where it's still relatively inexpensive. You get a year pass for like $100 max.
It is the cheapest amusement park around.
I just want to hang out at the hotel. That's all I want to do.
Yeah,
hang out at the Knox Way Farm Hotel.
It's not. It's overrated. Wait till they rebuild it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Used to work there. Get us in for free.
Shoot, I got the chickies working there.
Take your glasses off when you say that. I got the
work there.
I got the hookup. All right. Holla if you hear me.
Can't get us in there. I wanna steal the Snoopy costume.
I'm gonna tell you right now. That Snoopy quick story. Snoopy costume is about 4 feet. Let me say that. It's like 5'1". You gotta be like literally like 5'1" or less. You gotta literally be 5'1" or less to get in.
Why is it so tiny?
Because they don't want Snoopy to be like towering over.
That'd be fucking hilarious. Imagine like a 7-foot Snoopy.
No, that's gonna scare them kids.
You don't want
to scare you.
No, it won't scare me. It just scare the kids. It's gonna scare the kids because then they're gonna be like, "Well, Mama, he won the size of the cartoon.
He gonna come up behind you.
I come in."
So if you think about
he gonna come up, put his arms around you.
You think about all the characters, like even at Disneyland. Think about like your Mickeys, all those stuff. They're not big.
I'll kill
because they gotta be like because they gotta be at like a level where the kids can reach them. They ain't doing it for no adults, but you don't have like some 6'1".
Wait, so that means those mascots mostly gotta be women, right?
They gotta be small.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna say that they're always women because there is guys who get in there too, but you gotta be pretty.
I couldn't do it though.
It's hot. And you gotta be in costume.
I can't breathe in this thing.
I will tell you.
I'll be on my Django shit.
I will tell I will tell you the story that my sister told me when she was working at. My sister back in the day worked at Knott's, and I guess the dude who was in a Snoopy costume was walking around like he took his like helmet off. He was in a hotel because my sister used to work in a hotel. Snoopy took the helmet off, and the kid was like distraught and crying and stuff. Snoopy doesn't have no head. Snoopy doesn't have a head. And that kid lost his mind. So from that point on, they cannot even walk the premise without being in full costume.
Yeah,
because kids don't know the difference.
Yeah,
well, kids are dumb, but It's not really the mascot's fault. Motherfucker was hot.
I get it, but you know they don't. You gotta understand that.
Ain't no AC in this thing.
Exactly.
My perm's sweating now. I ain't got
Exactly.
no water. I need to take these kids keep jumping on my back.
You gonna finish that ice cream?
But yeah.
But see, and then that goes back to what we were saying though, like how you said how it's different from Six Flags and Knox, because back then at Six Flags, you know, stuff that was a thing, and it's just like going like when you used to go to like the skate depot or the skating ring, like you don't even want to LA, you couldn't go to that one because you already knew.
Word on Wheels until they got it all cleaned up and stuff. Yeah, Word on Wheels was the thing to go. Skate Depot was fine. Well, I mean, nobody really did anything at Skate Depot.
Just
Word on Wheels.
Yeah, Word on Wheels. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an issue, but they got it cleaned up, so they're straight now. I mean, Word on Wheels is still open. They good.
I ain't been there since I was in high school, but it used to be bad.
But yeah, back in the day, it was like, dude, you'd be hard pressed to pull up there on a nighttime tip. You got to go there. If you're gonna go, you got to go in the morning.
2:00 in the morning, like the
like you got to go skate with the kids.
Kids, yeah.
Like for real, like 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock. You know, once you get to about 3, 4 in the afternoon, you need to get up out of there. Unless it was Sunday, unless it was church day. And even then, you still had some of them pull up just on GP because they knew it was going to be something. That was one of those things. But besides that, what else can we talk about? Oh, we got to talk about some gaming stuff. But we got to double back.
What?
So Bungee and the Sony and Bungee deal just finalized. So Sony bought Bungee. That is final.
That's a loss.
I didn't know about that.
Well, the reason why Bungie was so gung-ho about being bought out by Sony was because I guess that they have a movie idea and a TV show idea.
They're trying to turn Destiny
what does it sound like to y'all?
They're trying to be like
they're trying to make that MCU.
They're trying to be like Ubisoft and Microsoft.
They're trying to be like Halo. So what happened was, because 343 gets all the credit for all the Halo stuff now, because they get credit for the movie, they get credit for like the red versus blue. That's all 343.
Well,
so Bungie,
because they've made the last 3 installments, so by now it is theirs.
No, I get it, but think about all the people who were on the Bungie team and who were the original creators of it. They decided to disband. Microsoft said, they was like, well, we don't want to deal with Microsoft. We want to part ways. This was their word. Microsoft wanted to keep them, but they wanted to part ways. My bad. They wanted to part ways, but in their parting ways, they didn't see the vision that Microsoft had. Which, granted, Halo cartoon series, they were on HBO already with their red versus blue. They got the TV show now that's running on Prime or whatever. Or,
Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus, if I'm not mistaken. So they got there, but all the OG Halo people who still sitting on the sidelines working on Destiny was like, that's what we want. So they begged and pleaded and all this stuff to get to Sony, because Activision Blizzard wasn't going to do it for them, obviously.
Oh God!
Because keep in mind, now.
I'm just thinking like if they stuck with Activision Blizzard, they'd be right back with Microsoft.
No, but see, in hindsight, that probably would have been best for them.
That's just the funny thing to me.
In hindsight, that would have been best for it. Because you know what they could have done? Put that whole team back together again. Bring all them back together, and then we could have fixed Infinite the way that y'all wanted to, because you'd have had enough resources and money. Because Microsoft would have said, look, we got everybody back together. We good. We got bread, cool.
Let's get to work.
Let's finish Infinite.
Let's go to the studio.
Let's finish Infinite. Let's get that off the ground. We can go double back about this TV series and figure out how to fix it. Because the TV series is not great. It's not trash, but they could fix it.
But my question to you, Cam, is this. Why is everybody so afraid of Microsoft?
They're not afraid.
Because
of Microsoft. It's just like they think
they're trying to branch their own.
They're trying to be Pinky in the brain right now. they're trying to take over the world.
Because it's like, okay, like when we was talking about how Microsoft got Ubisoft. So
they didn't get Ubisoft.
I mean, they could have got Ubisoft. Yeah, okay, but it's like, out of all of them, Sony and this, who got the most bread?
Microsoft has the most bread liquid, meaning that they don't have a buttload of overhead debt, at least currently constructed. Now, in the next 4 years or so from now, they're gonna have a buttload of overhead. They're gonna have a buttload of overhead debt. Now, the reason why the Bungie thing is kind of important because I don't know like what Bungie's gonna bring to Sony that I don't know. I don't know what they could get because they see the thing is Halo was their baby. Destiny is basically like a looter shooter of Halo. If this is where they wanted Halo to, really what Halo was supposed to be. It wasn't Halo though. Destiny wasn't. Halo was supposed to be. Destiny is supposed to be Halo.
So Destiny, that bitch.
Which is not bad, by the way. I'm not saying Destiny is bad by any stretch. It's just they just kind of lost their way.
It was supposed to be
not the Destiny I know.
It was supposed to be the spiritual successor to Halo.
Exactly.
You know, not a technical reboot, but a spiritual one.
Right.
Because when you play the first Destiny, it feels a lot like Halo.
Still never played Destiny.
You don't.
You do for just to kind of see it, but you really don't need to. Like, don't dive heavy into it.
But you feel like it, and it feels like old Halo.
Exactly.
You know, granted, the first game went probably not as planned. It went awry pretty bad, considering it was a online only looter shooter and not a traditional campaign.
But Halo?
No. Destiny.
Oh, Destiny.
The first Destiny.
Oh.
The second one had more of a traditional campaign, but still an online looter shooter. It's not. Anytime I think about Destiny, I always think about what could have been, and not what is, because I think what it could have been is a lot better than what it is now.
Well,
but now what they're trying to do with Sony, and Sony's not just a gaming company, it's an entertainment company, meaning they make movies. Mm-hmm. So they're probably trying to make a movie or a TV show. They're probably trying to make, like I said earlier, their own MCU. But instead of superheroes, it's Guardians.
Probably.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's probably why they're pushing for Sony to purchase them. So like, hey, look what we can do with Destiny. It's got all this potential. I personally don't think it does. But we'll see what happens.
I don't think it has potential. I think they capped out. I think they used. So they had what they had with Halo. That's why Halo and Destiny are not really far apart from each other. But they needed Activision, mainly they needed more Blizzard to kind of help them refine certain things. They needed certain, like they needed Sledge to kind of help their gunplay. They needed like the team from Diablo to help their looting process. Because ultimately, that was the game that they wanted Halo to be. Halo 3 was supposed to literally be Destiny. That's what they wanted.
Yeah, Bungie was actually very tired of working on Halo.
Right.
Because there wasn't even supposed to be a second one.
Right.
It was Combat. Sorry to cut you off. It was just Combat Evolved was supposed to be the only entry into the Halo series. Then Microsoft was like, all right, we want 2. And like, they relented. And they're like, all right, we'll make Halo 2.
And 2 was dope, though.
Because people
not saying these
Halo.
are bad games.
Yeah, 2 was dope.
It was in demand, but the problem is that when someone doesn't want to make something, they start to hate it. And by the end of 3, they were like, oh, I'm so fucking tired of it. And then they finally did ODST and Reach, and that's like, all right, we're tapped out.
Right. And the reason why is because they were like, Microsoft at the time, they didn't have the teams assembled like they have now. And they didn't necessarily have the resources at the time to let Bungie do their thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They needed Bungie to kind of be the cat. They needed Halo to be the cash cow.
So the push.
No, they needed them to be the cash cow. Just give me some Halo so we can kind of get some money.
The face of Xbox.
Yeah, so they could be the face.
Yeah, because Halo is Xbox.
One of them. But they needed them to buy some time until they could get Forza good enough. Until they could get Gears where it could stand on its own. They needed Halo to buy them some time. But in the same conversation piece, the Bungie team, like the original core of them, wanted to do a looter shooter in the Halo with the story and all this stuff. They wanted to put all that together into one big package. So they go to Activision because Activision Blizzard, they had the teams assembled and they had the know-how that they didn't have at the time because Bungie did not have the know-how to do the looter portion of things. Only Blizzard did. And that's why everybody was like trippy about, well, how did they keep Call of Duty separate from the looter shooter thing? Because they knew that to keep them two sides separate off the window.
Which was smart.
Which was very smart, by the way. But they were like, well, if Destiny really, really, really wants to do this, let's try it. It worked as far as like the mechanics of it, But what they didn't have in the first one, it didn't have no story. So it was just, you're just looting it. So you're basically playing Diablo in a shooter form, which to a degree was just fine.
It kind of felt like a shallower version of Borderlands.
Right, and that's why I say, this is where Borderlands got right, because they saw what happened with Destiny, and then Borderlands was like, oh yeah, we got them.
We fixed
Borderlands 2, one of the greatest games ever made.
Yeah, because when the first Borderlands, I didn't know, but then when
the first Borderlands didn't get the shooting. They didn't have mechanics right, because they had a little air bubble system, and they were trying to do something, like they were trying to go too far.
It was serviceable.
Right, but they were trying to dial themselves in too. But they said, look, we saw what they're doing. We got you. Just give us a couple of shots at it. And then Take-Two was like, okay, we'll give you a couple of shots at it. And they did.
So now with Sony, you think it's going to even give them even more a big push, more confidence-wise than they are now?
I don't think it does anything for them unless Bungie, my thing is, what can Bungie give to Sony?
To justify the purchase.
To justify it. Do they have, my thing is, do you have another IP in your mid that you're not talking about?
If it is,
and if you do,
Sony got it.
Yeah, and which is straight, but we don't know if they have it or not.
If it is, it has to be, I would say, traditional Bungie storytelling, as in it's a straight up, it's a single player campaign. It's not this looter shooter aspect. I think the looter shooter has done more harm than good at this point.
For them, for them.
But why is it? But my question is, because I see this every time. It's like Sony getting the mix, and then Microsoft getting the mix. Then now all of a sudden, it's a collide thing, because Sony got something good that's working, then Microsoft got to get something good that's working. So now, okay, which brand I'm gonna jump on? Am I gonna jump on Sony or I'm gonna jump on Microsoft?
Well, here's the thing. I mean,
because I be wondering about that. Like, okay, so like when we was talking about Halo, like Halo's Xbox, we just gonna say Microsoft. We just gonna put it like that. Now they got their series, they got a movie going. So now versus with Sony, Uncharted. Now you got a movie.
Because Sony's been pushing this anyway. This is why they bought a lot of different companies. This is why they got Crackle and they got Crunchyroll. They've been working on this for a while. So this is not like completely out of Sony's box. But to answer your question, is twofold. One, they got Bungie because Bungie kind of pitched them on something that I don't know if it's going to work or not, to be honest with you. And if they do pitch them and they do get there, is this new IP worth it? For one. Because the thing about being with Sony is that you basically got one, maybe two shots at this. Because you want to know why? Because every other one of their major companies already have a home run in them. Even their newer games already home run. Ghost of Tsushima, home run. Returnal, home run. They already home run off teams that are not really established, and they home run on. Bungie better home run. They better home run. Now, going back to your question about, Microsoft versus Sony and why is it kind of an arms race, because now you got two different things working. Okay. Microsoft already has Game Pass, so they're like, we can buy whoever we want, but we don't need everybody.
We're kind of in the midst of a gaming cold war.
Yeah, so we don't need everybody, but they have all the pieces that they need. They didn't have to buy EA, even though EA wants to get bought out by somebody. They didn't have to buy them. They already have them with the EA Play. Ubisoft, they could have bought Ubisoft at the same time that they got Activision.
Is this Sony?
No, this is Microsoft.
Microsoft, okay.
They could have got, Ubisoft. They don't need Ubisoft because Ubisoft's doing their own version of gameplay, so we don't need you to. We don't need to buy you. We just need y'all games. We don't care. We don't care in what capacity we get them. We just need your games for a little bit.
The only one that wasn't doing that was Activision.
Right, and Activision was in the position of Electronic Arts. They didn't have to play. The only reason why they're even playing now is because they got caught and they got in trouble. Mm-hmm. So now they have to play. But because they're playing, what happened was, because of this acquisition, which is almost finalized, the other story is Microsoft's going to finalize the Activision deal. It'll be done by August. They're just going through the final regulations of it.
We should be seeing the fucking
of
that by next year.
Yeah, they're going to finalize that in August. They're just going through the last thing. Europe has a little issue with them as far as some minor stuff, but they're going to clear that.
It ain't going to get stopped.
Yeah, they're not. It's basically a done deal at this point. But the only reason why Activision's even in place is because they kind of messed up. But see, what happened was when Microsoft bought them out for the god-awful amount of money, EA was like, well, they get paid this type of money. We want to get paid this type of money, too. We want to buy out. So that's why they've been pitching to Facebook and pitching to Sony, because they want to get paid out, too, now.
It's almost desperate.
Yeah, they're acting in desperation, but nobody could touch EA now. EA's on an island right now because now, if let's say Sony gets EA, now you're talking monopoly. Microsoft can't get EA because now you're talking a monopoly. Because now you're controlling too much of the market. Somebody got to stand out on their own.
So now they can't sell nor buy.
They're stuck. So I'll tell you the teams that are kind of stuck. Take-Two is stuck. Square stuck. Nintendo stuck. But Nintendo doesn't. They're on their own little island right now. And Ubisoft stuck at this point in time. But somebody could get them down the line. But they're kind of stuck too.
Wait, so that means real quick. So since this is happening and the independent part of game publishing is getting smaller, does that mean if EA were to suddenly start failing, it qualifies for a bailout?
More or less, because nobody could get them.
Because before the Activision purchase, if EA was failing, they'd just go bankrupt, and that'd be the end of it.
They could go either bankrupt or somebody could go get them.
Well, no, but that's what I mean. But now, since it'd be considered a monopoly, they'd have to get bailed out by the government.
Right, because nobody can get them. So let's say Sony wanted so I take that back. The only team that could go get them, the only team is Nintendo. No. Nintendo could get them, but they don't have enough. They don't have enough overhead capital to get them. They don't need them.
No, oh my god.
Nintendo doesn't. The thing about Nintendo is that Nintendo is not valued higher than any of these companies, but they don't need them to survive either. They're liquid a buttload of money right now.
Nintendo cool because people they still got the cool games on there.
They're and then they know what they are.
When we were at work, we were talking about this. We were looking at Nintendo Switch games. We were like, fucking $50-$60 for like 4-year-old games and whatnot.
Right, because they don't have to move their price. See, Nintendo's like Apple. You got it.
That's great.
You have to deal with them. Is that much I hate
which is smart. No, which is smart.
Meaning that they don't have to move their price or nothing. We set the price. We don't have to move a price.
You want to buy
we may put an occasional game on sale from time to time, but 9 times out of 10.
Hey, where else you gonna get Zelda, motherfucker?
You can't get Zelda no place else.
Where else you gonna play Mario, bitch?
You can't play Mario. You can't play Zelda. You can't play Smash. You can't play Kid Icarus. You can't play Pokemon. You have to play it here.
It's either here or nowhere.
Exactly. And they know it. And the thing is about with Microsoft and Sony, the reason why the arms race is there is because they want to have that same feel. Like, you can only play Fallout here. You can only play God of War here. You can only play Returnal here. That's literally the arms race.
Is Nintendo online too or no?
Yeah.
Okay. I was curious about that.
But this is the reason why Switch sales are the way that they are. It's because everybody, you got your generation of people who grew up on Nintendo and all that stuff. And so you still got your people who still are, I still like Mario like that. I still like Zelda like that. You can't get it no place else. Yeah. You know what they did? They didn't buy Sega, but they paired up with Sega to make sure that they got all the Sega stuff off the ground. And this was before Sony and Microsoft started dealing with Sega.
And Nintendo still partnering with Sega.
And here's the thing. Microsoft could have bought Sega. It could have took that.
Because Sega's not dead, though. Don't get it. Yeah, it's not dead.
Sega's fine.
It's fine.
They're there.
They're there.
They're fine.
Because I got a feeling something big with them going to come out on something and everybody.
They've been kicking around the console for a period of time. But they don't want to go ahead of Nintendo, so they want to kind of work with Nintendo to get their console out versus make one on their own.
I'm all for it. More fucking competition.
But I'm down. Like if Sega said we got a console and they want to kind of separate themselves and take Sonic back and get a couple other games,
I'm cool.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think they're just too far down the rabbit hole. I think Xbox.
Put some virtual fighters.
But I think Xbox got so far. Then they got so far away and they're starting to separate themselves out now that the only way that Sony could catch up is by giving those AAAs. So the reason why they have to get Bungie, because they have to try to find a way to get a AAA title out there. Because I think their AAA titles are going to start to get stuck. Meaning that God of War is going to do good, but ain't going to do great. Even though God of War Ragnarok, from what everybody says, is probably going to double back and get Game of the Year this year.
So basically,
and it's only because Starfield is not jumping out this year.
So basically, right now, Xbox is it the number one right now, or?
Well, Xbox is selling more consoles, even though it's weird because they don't have to sell not a console in their life at this point in time because you could play your you have a smart TV that so happens to have like downloadable capabilities, you could get the Xbox app on right on your TV right now, get yourself a controller, and you're good to go.
Right now, they're king of the hill. For now.
But that's not to say that Sony's not that far behind. They're doing just fine.
Don't get me wrong. I grew up when I had PlayStation stuff, but when I finally started playing Xbox, it was just, this is it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, the variation is different, but you get what you pay for, if that makes sense.
Well, I think the thing is with Sony and Microsoft is that they're really established. They're really established, and Sony's putting a buttload of money into it. Now they're starting. This is the reason why they started doing their movies and stuff. This is why you got to.
But you know what's so funny with Microsoft too? Because they do that. Okay, you play this, you get these points, and then you can cash out on these points,
or like $30 in points.
Yeah. Which you get prize and stuff like that. I like that.
Because PlayStation is going to come out with PlayStation's coming out with a reward system too.
You know what's
that's dropping in like a month.
You know what's trippy? I'm just thinking about it is. So Sony, Xbox, Nintendo, they're established as the three main console makers, excluding PC. That's the distant fourth. But what I'm saying is not that long ago there used to be a myriad of consoles. It wasn't just the main three. Mm-hmm. You guys remember growing up, there was more than one type of console.
Well. But it's always been like. But think about it.
But what I'm saying is that nowadays people are, kids nowadays are just realizing it's either Sony, Xbox, or Nintendo.
Well, but that goes back into something that goes back into a generational thing. So y'all probably a little bit too young for this, but yeah, there were other consoles. But you know what it was?
Dreamcast?
No. It was back in the day. It was on. I mean, there was a lot of consoles, but here's your three: Atari, Intellivision, ColecoVision.
I had an Atari.
Most people had Atari because they was the name, they were the arcade name, they were the ones. But all the people who really knew about games, they got Intellivision. And if you were a quasi PC player, you got ColecoVision because ColecoVision was the closest thing to a PC. Activision, the Atari was the closest thing to an arcade, and Intellivision was in between. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Then Nintendo, the NES came out. So you still had Atari, Intellivision, and ColecoVision kind of got out the way, but it was Nintendo. It was an NES, 85-ish, 86-ish.
But
then about a year or so later, that's when Sega came in. It was like, oh well, you got one, we got one too. But see, what they did was, even though Atari was still there,
PC was still there.
Atari was still there. PC players wasn't really as strong at the time, but they were there. But Atari was there. Intellivision was there. Intellivision got out the way.
But I feel like
for every time you got one got out the way. Atari kind of stuck around for a period of time. So even when it was Nintendo and Sega, Atari was there. They got out the way. SNK was there. They had a console. They got out the way. There's a lot of people kind of got out the way because as consoles are there, it always some sort of semblance of big three. But Nintendo and Sega really made it a big two.
Can I ask you a question though, Cam? Before we go off, why is PC so quiet right now?
They don't have to do anything.
No, PC is so well established that they don't really.
Because I don't hear people, conversation. Oh man, I'm playing my PC, playing this. I just don't hear people bragging about it like that.
Because you want to know why? Because PC players, it goes without saying. Okay. Anybody who's really should be playing games should be playing on a PC.
You look at all your pros. What do they play? PC.
PC. Because I feel the reason why I brought that up because the other day I was talking to one of my friends of mine. He said he said I got Xbox, I got it in, but I don't even touch it. I'm on my PC pretty much 24/7. He said because I can't. He said he can't go without a day without playing World of Warcraft.
Well, I was going to go to another topic. We'll kind of table it for a later point in time, but PC players. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're not bragging about your computer because your computer 9 times out of 10 is going to be built. So you're not saying that, ooh, I got an HP computer. It's not a bragging point, But if you said I have a 3080 Ti sitting in my computer, that's the bragging point. And that's not even the top. And that's not even the best. That's not even the best graphics card. If that makes sense.
They go for like $1,500.
Yeah, I'm just saying. But think about that. But
you see, that's something I want.
But here, no. But here's the part of that answer goes.
You want a PC?
Like, because I do want a PC. I ain't gonna even lie. I do want a PC.
We'll talk after.
Yeah. But y'all gotta negotiate that out. But anyway, but the reason why people don't talk about PCs, I'm gonna tell you right now, about a good portion of your gamers can't afford it. Not the way that you want it.
Well, yeah, it's like
not the way that people push it. Now, a real a top flight gaming PC, like if you really did it the right way,
easily $5,000, easily.
Just like I ain't gonna say like a top tier, but let's say like a top tier. You're $2,000 in the hole.
Yeah, my boy.
You're $2,000 in the hole. So would you tell me that? Would you rather pay $2,000 to get your PC up? Now people are starting to get this now because they figure out, well, I can do so much more with my PC than I can ever do with a console. This is why console sales are down. But people don't really have 2 racks. They could kind of justify $300 to get the Series S and be just fine. You could kind of maybe justify $500 to be like, well, it's $5. I could kind of deal with this. A little bit of a hit to my pocket, and maybe to most people that's probably like it's probably a half paycheck for most people. But it could justify that. It's hard to justify 2 racks. Because to most people, 2 racks is a month's worth of pay.
So I hypothetically, okay. So
give me anything else. That's a month. I mean, to most people, that's a
so
month
basically. So for instance, if I go but say I want the whole I want the real, I want no BS PC. I'm gonna end up spending some bread. So basically,
at least, I mean, 2
or 3 racks.
I mean, you could get away with getting a computer for like about $1,200 and be perfectly fine. Yeah. But if you really want to start talking like real graphics, real performance, not gonna, break
now this
down.
is when you get more into like the pro shit.
Right. I'm not saying like you have to, but you're talking about 2,000. If you really, really, really had the bread and you really was liquid, yeah. I mean, what Vic said about 4,000 or 5,000. Yeah, there's top flight PCs that you can get 4,000 or 5,000.
That's just the PC. That's not even including the monitor.
Right. I'm just saying that just the computer, the monitor could go anywhere between 200 to 1,000. I'm just being honest with you.
If you want the real deal.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that most people's setups, they don't have that. The people who have those setups are your Twitch streamers and YouTubers who are making that money back. And that's the reason why they get this stuff.
And the trippy thing is, too, is that some of those are just sponsored PCs. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're set up with them to be used.
Right, but even then, they put up the bread.
I can picture myself just sitting right here with like 3 monitors.
Yeah, no, but that's how certain people.
That's cool. I like that.
Normal. That's normal. To most PC players, that's normal. They play, and some of them don't even play keyboard or mouse. They play with a controller. That's the other thing.
The superior way to play. I will die on this hill.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, there's certain people, that's how they get down. But I used to work in Microsoft, and people like your Twitch, even your basic Twitch streamers, will still have a pretty extensive setup. You want to know why? Because that's really what it would take to do it.
Well, yeah, because, come on, let's face it, if you're Twitch streaming like that, it's a job. You're going to invest in your job.
And even then, it's called an investment. And this is the reason why, YouTubers and stuff, there's a degree of cameras that you should have. There's a degree of a computer you should have. There is levels to everything that you should have to make things work. PC players, PC players is kind of in the same conversation piece. Yeah. If you want to play at a semi-top to top level,
you got to spend the bread.
And then that's their bragging right. Their bragging right is, well, my game can run at 144 hertz. And it can run at 1 ms response time, and it looks like this. Trust me.
I'm watching this one dude now. He was talking on Facebook gaming about how his PC runs.
Yeah, exactly. That's the bragging point. You want to know, and you want to know what it takes to do that? A lot of bread. There's a lot of people who don't. I've seen a lot of people look on Twitch. Yeah. There's people who don't know the first thing about computers, but they're still sitting on $2,000, $3,000 worth of a computer. Now, here's a flip of the coin for y'all single ones out there. Now, people don't understand that, you got a computer, but if you told somebody that your computer is worth $3,000 or $2,000, it's one of those like, well, if you got a $2,000 computer, what else does he have?
Dead.
No. I mean, some people do. Some people do.
I get what you're saying. I see how you flip that.
The mentality is that.
I see how you flip that.
Yeah, I get it. You afford nice things. What else can he afford?
Yeah, exactly. Because people think that it's a computer. It's a computer. I'm gonna tell you right now. There's females who was handed, here's a $2,000 computer. Take this. Just being honest with you, I've seen it. I literally seen it. Shout out to my boy J2Cents, by the way, who's a YouTuber and whatnot. He actually builds computers and stuff for a living. He would go into stores and buy people. You're buying a computer right now? Cool. You should buy this one. Here's $2,000. I'm gonna pay for your computer right now. That's what he would do. Why? Because he had it. Why? Because he know that really what it takes to get computing at this point in time. And it's not just from a gaming point of view. If you were a video editor, an audio engineer, YouTuber,
marketing, stuff like that.
Literally, that's what you need.
Yeah.
I mean, your basic computers will only get you so far, but to really be top notch, you really gotta get your computer game up.
Yeah, I feel
like animators, video editors, all that stuff. You know, really what it comes down to. Yeah, you could do it on a basic computer, but if you want to do it right, the asking price right now is between $1,500 to $2,000. Well, but anywho, but that's why let's jump into that. But yeah, man. But final thoughts, y'all.
Well, we dived into everything. My final thought is, look, for you kids out there, this Knott's Berry Farm stuff, please don't do this again. You know, y'all stay safe. You still got a lot to learn. You're still young, all right? Don't be out there embarrassing us out there in the damn Knott's. But other than that, just God above all, must love and respect, and just try to make the world a better place for all of us. That's all I got. Damn kids.
How old are you again?
I'm 34.
He a kid. He talking about kids, and he a kid himself. I'm gonna leave you alone.
I'm 34.
Go ahead.
I'm old. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm still young. I ain't trying to get a cam mad. Yeah. You want to see old? Look at this.
That's what I'm saying. If I show y'all the grays, trust me, I can't show y'all right now because the cam, too much light in the cam. If I showed y'all the grays right now, y'all be like, yeah, he old. Facts.
What about you, Vic?
Well, I'm just glad we were able to talk about what we were able to talk about today. You know, it was a simpler but nice episode. That Knott's Berry Farm shit, while funny, is pretty stupid. It's really stupid. It's just social media has... Personally, I don't think children should be on the internet at all, unless for education purposes. There's really nothing on there for them. I mean, come on now. It's done more harm than good at this point. This is just more proof of that. Granted, that's won't happen. It's too ingrained, and parents don't want to be parents. So that doesn't help. But I just hope in the near future that people will look at this and realize, well, fuck, we got to be better. But I know people are going to look at this one thinking, now, well, fuck, we got to step up now. So I feel like we're going to see more antics in the future, unfortunately, but I'll keep hope that they learn from this. But, like with everything, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And yeah, I think Sony really did take a loss on buying Bungie, dude. They're not going to get much out of them. They're ringing already a dry fruit. It ain't going to happen. But let me pass it to you, Ken. You look like you want to say something.
Get it off your chest.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in reverse. So I agree with you. I don't think Bungie is going to provide much of anything substantial unless there's something that y'all not telling us that y'all got a home run IP that y'all just sitting on waiting at the bit. Now I say that to say this, Bethesda said the same thing about Starfield, and not everybody's like completely gassed about that either. It looks good, it sounds good,
but it's Bethesda.
But we don't know if it is good. I mean, you got to be better than games that's already out that look similar to you. And y'all think that Starfield is a home run. It looks like a home run, but we don't know if it's a home run. It could be a double, meaning that it could be solid and it needs some work. But
oh, go ahead.
Like a double. Double. I need a double burger with cheese.
I want fries with that. I said fries.
But I don't know. I just don't know if I don't know what Bungie can give them that Sony doesn't already have. I agree with that. I just don't know what they can give them. You know, because taking Destiny is not taking much, because Destiny's kind of dead in the water right now. Bitch. What, you're going to get a third? If you're going to give me a third Destiny that kind of culminates everything and put all the things that y'all been trying to work for together?
Yeah. Destiny's a bitch.
I mean, it just lost its way. It just lost its way, and I think it lost its way because of the whole Activision. I think Activision Blizzard kind of put them in a hole.
Fucked me over when it went free to play.
Well, the reason why is because this is when all the antics was going on in their office. All to keep in mind, people don't understand, like when all this stuff was popping off in their offices, you know, Bungie was in the middle of this. They just kind of got out of there in time before they got caught up in the crossfire.
I used to love that game. used to love it, then it went free to play, and everyone was able to access it, and I was like, that's it.
But
it's over. The whore.
But the other thing is, you know, the touch on like the Knox thing and the MGM thing is like, you know, first of all, y'all gotta stop being overly paranoid about the simplest of things. Let's start there. And you know, I know views is important. I know we're in the age where, you know, most people, this is their moneymaker. Money making is they make money off YouTube. They make money off TikTok. They're making money off Instagram. I get it. But at what point in time are y'all going to be creative in different ways and not just do stuff just for antics and shock value? I mean, you know, I know Knox, you know, the whole thing, you know, I want to do it for shock value. But y'all don't understand the flip of it up, like how bad it made a community of people look, like how bad it made teenagers look. Like Knox is now, not gonna say unwilling to let teenagers come up in there, but they're gonna look at y'all in a completely different way. Even for the kids even for the 90% of the kids who was there to do the right thing, those 10% of kids who wasn't doing the right thing, it's gonna make it hard for every other kid who walks up in there
Takes
now.
one bad apple to ruin the batch.
Yeah, and they're gonna mess it up for them. You know, it's gonna mess it up for like the workers who's there, who are teenagers who are there. It's gonna mess up for a lot of different people. They don't understand the ramifications that comes down behind that because y'all wanted to do something for views. You know, be creative, learn a skill, and I understand that, you know, doing some of this stuff is a skill to a degree, but y'all could be more creative. I mean, I've seen many people on social media, many kids, many young adults who've done a lot of good creative things, but some of the stuff that y'all been doing as of late, we can start with the little crate challenge and all that other stuff. You know, eating the time. You know,
I like the crate challenge.
No, but it was stupid. You know how many people got hurt over the crate challenge? Because one person thought it was cool, then everybody was like, well, I'm going to try to do that too because of the antics, because it was shock value. But I would tell you how many people busted their butt and got hurt behind it. Or the kids who popping the Tide Pods in their mouth thinking that it was funny.
Yeah, that was dumb.
But see, this is my problem.
The crate one was hilarious. Because just to see this big old lady and walked up, I'm like, come on, mama, don't do that now. I'm just thinking like, I told my mom, you should do that. She said, man, I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna hurt myself.
But that's the problem, because now you got people like, oh, well, this is funny. This is kind of cool. Now everybody's starting to do it. Not so much.
Real quick, y'all remember the motherfucking cinnamon challenge? Eat a spoonful of cinnamon?
Oh, I heard about that.
Fucking years ago, dude, but just thinking about it. It's just they've been doing dumb shit for a long time.
But that's the whole thing. We've been doing it for such a
long time. The jalapeno challenge?
The hot chip
the ghost pepper?
Yeah. The hot chip challenge. Like certain things.
I want to do that though. I told mom we gotta do that.
Certain things is fine.
I'll do the
serious?
I would do the hot. I would do the hot chip challenge. I wanted to do it so bad.
But when it comes to the point where y'all doing like the show,
how we're doing the next episode.
Oh no, we ain't doing it. I ain't trying to die. Y'all can die.
I'll do it. I swear to God, I want to do it.
Hey.
No BS. No BS.
Look into the camera.
I will do it. I will literally do the hot chip challenge.
All right. So this is what we're gonna do. If we get
order it right now.
No, we good. If we get 100 views on this video, we doing it. Right?
I will do it.
I'm gonna have the boys do it. Now I'm old. I ain't doing it.
Oh yes, you are.
I'm old. I'm old. I ain't doing it.
He's old now.
This ain't covered in my plan.
I ain't trying to have a heart attack up in this mug.
I make sure I have me some cold water, some milk sitting right here. Oh, no. I want to do. I really do want to do the hot chip challenge.
Paul, we gonna put you to it.
No BS. I will do it.
You need some fucking heavy cream. Is what you gonna need.
I will do it.
We gonna put you to it.
No BS. I will do it. We'll sit right here and I will do it.
He's all excited.
No, I'm not. I'm excited, but I've been wanting to do it because I've been wanting to do it.
Okay, we're gonna see what this man's about.
I'm a daredevil. Don't get me wrong, but it's because I've been wanting to see. I just want to see what it's all about. Right, if it's really hot.
We're gonna do the hot ones challenge. He's about to die. He's gonna have his butt burning and run to the bathroom. It's cool.
Yeah, I'll make sure I have extra TV.
Cool. It's cool.
You know, it ain't gonna be Charmin. It's gonna be something strong.
Woo! He didn't say it burned you twice.
Damn. I'd be like on what's the name of Vampire Booker. Damn.
I'm gonna tell you right now, after this happens, he ain't gonna be in work for like 3 days. So I'm gonna let y'all know right now.
Oh, I'll make sure I request a day off on that.
He's gonna be calling out because he's gonna be dying. Anyway, but besides that, y'all, let me get up out of here, get my boys up out of here because we gotta put in some work tonight. I gotta do some editing and stuff. So y'all know how we do. This has been episode 26 laying pipe with the PVC crew. Definitely been a privilege and honor to do as such. I know how we get down. And I forgot. This is twice that I've done this. I did this the last time, and I forgot to do it again.
What?
Y'all already know what to do. Y'all forget, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I should have put that at the beginning, but if y'all already got this far down, you know what Vic said in the last video. That's what I already clicked on. Y'all already clicked on this without me telling y'all, right?
Click.
Fuck are you doing?
Hit that subscribe button.
Be it as it may.
Look into the camera and look sad. You gotta subscribe for that face.
But like and subscribe. Y'all already know the deal. We appreciate everybody who's we appreciate every single person who takes the time to listen, to watch, to do all that stuff. But for my man Paul, for my man Vic, my name is Cam, aka Dirt Boy Fresh. We are the PVC Podcast Crew. This has been episode 26. Like always, it is God above everything. To the next time, family, we will do this again soon.
Much love and respect.
Salute.
Peace.